We are hearing Bhagavad Gita. We finished chapter 9, Araja Guhya Yoga, Supreme Secret. And there are some questions here. What is meant by Big Gyan? What is Big Gyan versus Gyan? First verse. No, it is not. That was previous chapter. No. The Supreme Lord said, "O Arjuna, as you are free from carping, I will now tell you the most secret truth regarding my transcendental knowledge and divine love, knowing which you will attain freedom from all evils." One second. I will see in the verse. In 9th verse. If Gyan and Bigyan is mentioned here, yes, Gyanam Vigyana Sohitam. Jnana means knowledge and Vigyan means realized knowledge. Or here it is said transcendental knowledge and divine love. Divine love means realization of transcendental knowledge. Second, what is the distinction between Raja Vidya and Raja Guhya Yoga? This is known as Raja Vidya or Raja Guhya and is eternally pure and excellent. It gives the true knowledge of the self. It is the climax of all religions. It is easily accessible to all. It is unchangeable and eternal. Easily accessible to all because everyone can take, but for karma and gyan you need those qualifications. But for devotion you only need faith. So it is same. Raja Vidya and Raja Guhya is same, one and the same thing. What is the cause of constant births and deaths in Prakriti? Tenth shloka. My Prakriti brings forth all things, movable and immovable in this world, under my supervision. It is for this reason that this world comes into existence. So Krishna is the cause. But jivas are also cause, because when they are averse, they have to undergo these births and deaths. So for those jivas who are averse to Krishna, Krishna is making this. He is the cause of all this, because he is giving the fruits of our actions. So he is under his supervision. This material energy is moving and jivas are reaping the fruits of their actions. Who deride the Lord and why? Foolish persons disparage me as I manifest myself in a human form, not knowing that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the Supreme Lord of the universe. Foolish, because they don't have this knowledge and they traduce me under the influence of demoniac, fiendish, and delusive temperament, as they are men of vain hopes, vain enjoyments of heavenly pleasure, who are deluded by the untenable theory of impersonal Brahman, and whose intelligence is enshrouded by the three qualities of Maya. So those who are averse, there are different types. They traduce means rebuke or criticize or disrespect Krishna. Because their knowledge has been stolen by Maya. What is the real nature of a true devotee? O Partha, but the high-souled saints endowed with pure intelligence worship me as the primeval and unchangeable source of all beings with single-minded devotion under the guidance of their unsullied temperament. Pure temperament, that is pure devotion to Krishna, that is their real nature of a true devotee. What are the majestic qualities of the Lord? And we're hearing that he is Shrauta Yagya, Agnishtoma, Swadha, grandfather, father, fire, ghee, everything, Om, four Vedas, friend, creation, all this we were hearing. And mother, because he's this material energy also is his potency, which gives birth to all those actions and jivas who are averse to Krishna. And he is the heat in the summer, cold in winter, water, nectar, everything. What is the final end of those who follow the injunctions as laid down in the three Vedas? The performers of fruitive actions mentioned in the three Vedas seek after heavenly pleasures by performing sacrifices, by drinking the soma juice, and thus become purged of all sins. After having attained heaven by virtue of pious deeds, they enjoy the celestial pleasures in heaven. But having enjoyed the vast celestial pleasures, they come down again to this world on the expiry of their merit. The fruitive action mongers are enraptured by the honeyed words of the above three Vedas and are therefore hurled into the vortex of birth and rebirth time and again. Also, here it is said that if you do these pious activities, you will be purged of all sins. That is also in the case of that atonement, expiration, that purification. When someone does many sins, then he can do expiry, that atonement he can do. But if you do karma kant atonement, that will not last. You will only be free from that reaction, but tendency to commit sin will still be there. So again and again, it will be a cycle. So here also, they are purged of all sins and they raise to heaven, but then they have to come down again. Expiration. They gave that word, but that atonement. Another word for atonement is something expiation, something. What is meant by yoga and kema? what are the special characteristics of true devotees whom God supplies all that is needful for a devotee? Yoga and Kshema means what you need and what you have. Krishna is giving what you need and protecting what you have. And what are the characteristics? They are one-pointed. Ananyas chintayanto mam jejana parjupasate. One-pointed exclusive devotion to Krishna and always serving him, always engaged in his service. That is verse 22. I supply the daily necessities, taking all possible care for the upkeep of those persons who are steadfastly attached to me and who worship me with single-minded devotion, meditating constantly on my lotus feet. So if you have such devotion, then Krishna will personally take care of you. What is the nature of worship of the worshippers of gods, and what is the ultimate end? O son of Kunti, those who are worshippers of other minor gods with faith worship me indeed, without prescribed rules, contrary to rules. It is avidi purvakam. It should not be done like that. Because we have to serve Krishna directly. By this, everyone will be served, not separately demigods. So that is avidi, means improper. And what is their ultimate end? The worshippers of other gods, of ancestors, and of the elements go forth to them respectively, while my devotees who worship my eternal transcendental reality come unto me. So they will go there, but they will not go to Krishna. What is the easy access to Bhakti Yoga, and what is acceptable by the Supreme Lord? That is Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, Jo me Bhakti Prayachati. That whatever is offered to me by a devotee who is self-controlled, be it leaf, flower, fruit, or water, this is easily available or accessible to everyone. If offered with a loving and sincere heart, is acceptable to me as a gift of love with great pleasure. What is Karma Mishra Bhakti as offered to God? 27. O son of Kunti, whatever you do according to your Varna Ashram position, eat, sacrifice, bestow as gift, and perform as austerity, consecrate them all to me. So if someone does according to his Varna Ashram Dharma, he has prescribed eating, sacrifice, gift. Like Brahmins, they have to give the gift of knowledge. But Kshatriyas, they will give money and these things. And Vaishyas, they will give milk, and so depends. But everyone has some eating rules and what kind of sacrifice he has to do within his duties, and what he should give, and what kind of austerity he has to do. So all this, if one does for the satisfaction of Krishna, for offering them to Krishna, then that will be Karma Mishra Bhakti. Because it is related to Varna Ashram Dharma. It is not Shravan Kirtan directly, but what you Varna Ashram you offering. Is there any favoritism or communalism in the Supreme Lord? No. He said, I have no friend, no enemy. But whoever will worship me, he will be for me, I will also be for him. How is a single-minded devotee to be regarded, although he is a man of very ill conduct? Is there any fall of a true devotee of the Lord? He should be regarded as a sadhu, means devotee, as a saint, because he is properly resolved, properly determined, he has proper target and proper effort, though due to pressure of some past bad habits he may do something wrong, but that will be removed by devotion itself gradually and very quickly in comparison to other processes. He will be purified. Is there any fall of a true devotee? No. Krishna is protecting true devotees from falling. And also, if there is some accidental in pure devotee, that also we should not mind. We should think he's a devotee. And another that one interpretation is, if one can see in someone who apparently does something wrong in relation to Varna, Ashram, Dharma or something, or violence like this, but we see that actually he is not doing anything wrong because he's doing higher dharma, like gopis. So if one can see this, and if he praises such devotion, then this praising of devotion and devotees, in spite of apparent ill conduct, that will purify me, because I will sing the glories of Vaishnavas, that will rescue me, purify me from all anarthas, and will bestow me devotion to Krishna. Are the untouchables, women, Vaishyas and Shudras, entitled to eternal good? And what are the means which entitle them to attain eternal good? Yes, they are entitled to eternal good. And what is the means? To take shelter of Supreme Lord. Krishna said, whoever will take shelter of me, be he a Shudra or anything, he will attain me, means eternal good. So what to speak of Brahmins and Kshatriyas and those high birds? They will also attain me if they take shelter of me. What are the tangible means leading to pure devotion, and what are their results? This is the verse we were hearing yesterday. What is the process? Fix thou, O Arjuna, thy mind on me alone. Be thou always devoted unto me. Perform thou thy duties as a matter of sacrifice for me. Bow down thy head always before me, and be thou absorbed in my meditation. When thou art thus unswervingly attached to me alone, thou shalt attain me and enter into my blissful realm as a devout servitor, after performing all kinds of duties as a kshatriya in this mundane plane. So this verse was Man mana bhavo Man mana bhavo mad bhakto mad jaji mam namaskuru mam evaisya siyuktvavam atmana mat parayana. So if one will do this, engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So this is the result. If one will do this, means surely he will come to Krishna. in his blissful transcendental realm, Gurudev said there is no any difficulty there, no diseases. So if there are no diseases, then there are also no medicines necessary, either right medicine or forced medical procedures that is not existing there. But in Kali Yuga it exists in this world. So we made a mistake by, from marginal position, we did not go to Golok Vrindavan, blissful transcendental realm of Krishna, but we wanted to enjoy this world, so now we have to get all these inconveniences and so many things here. So we did Himalayan blunder. Blunder means mistake, wrong thing. Himalaya is very big mountain. So Gurudev told Himalayan blunder. No one is to be blamed. We did this wrong thing and now we have to undergo all these things. And only we can rectify this mistake. No one can do it instead of us. I have to give up this desire to enjoy and I have to accept the service of Krishna. Then I can be rescued from all miseries and can get absolute bliss. But I have to do it. No one else will do instead, under the guidance of Guru. And generally, it is a gradual process how from one side you will unconditionally accept the another side through sadhana process, gradual. Now, chapter 10, Vibhuti Yoga, or the principle of the divine extensions. Summary. The Supreme Lord goes on to say that he is the primeval origin of all the gods, and the great sages of yore, who do not know the divine nature of his descents and deeds enacted during his descent in human form on the mundane plane. Our Gurudev also preferred this word that it should be used, descent, for avatar, not incarnation, because incarnation is also used for human beings and for some qualities and like this, and also incarna means to enter into meat, but Supreme Lord does not enter into meat. He comes in his transcendental form. He only descends to this world. So avatar, descent. He descends and he is called descent in human form. He who knows him as the one unborn, beginningless, and the fountainhead of all that exists, and realizes the transcendental nature of his eternal beautiful human form and his superiority over his two other aspects, viz. Paramatman and Brahman, is released from all Mayic delusions and is purged of all sins by his grace. Totally you are purged. By karma kant atonement, only partially and temporary. By jnana kanda atonement, more thoroughly you are purged of all sins, but not completely or fully, because even there, when new opportunity will come again, they will fall down from that Brahman because of not taking shelter of Krishna. In Bhagavatam that verse is there. But only one who will take shelter of Krishna under the guidance of his pure devotee he can be purged of all sins. Original sin is aversion to Krishna. So this sin also has to be removed. Then there is no chance of anymore. And that is by His grace. He sends His own surrendered devotees to teach us surrender. And when we practice that, then by that sincere practice, if we do not with false ego, but sincerely practicing, then that will attract His grace. Then by His grace we can be rescued. No one can be rescued if he thinks, I will get rescued only by my effort. Jnanis think, or those who are proud. But devotees, they know it depends on His grace. But that does not mean that we have nothing to do then. We have to do our part. We have to serve Him. And then when He will grace, then we can be rescued fully. All the mental conditions with intelligence, non-delusion, forbearance, truth, etc. originate from Him. That is why without surrendering to Him we cannot awaken those qualities in us. Without His grace. You cannot artificially practice those. When you are connected to Him, then they will appear automatically. The 7 ancient sages, the 4 brahmacharis, and the 14 manus were all born of Brahma, who came of Him, Krishna, and the human race has sprung from their progeny. Those who worship the Lord with firm faith and unadulterated devotion, knowing Him to be the fountainhead of all, and that everything evolves from Him, are called Pandits. That is to say, persons enlightened in transcendental knowledge. The characteristic features of Ananya Bhaktas have been mentioned in the Chatushloki Gita, Shlokas 8 to 11 of this chapter, which is the nucleus of the whole Gita. Everything is contained in these 4 shlokas. Like in Bhagavatam, there is Chatushloki. Here also there are 4 shlokas, everything is there. The Supreme Lord then proceeds to mention His Vibhutis, or divine extensions, which pervade the whole universe. He is the Vishnu of the Adityas, the sun of the luminous objects, Kapila of the Siddhas, Pralat of all the Daityas, Parashuram of the wielders of all weapons, Vasudev of the Vrishnis, and Dhananjaya of the Pandavas. That is Arjuna. Krishna is Arjuna. He is the beginning, the middle, and the end of all. He is the science that deals with God, Jiva and matter, and their interrelationship. In other words, whatever object is conspicuous by virtue of its grandeur, glory, might, sublimity, or beauty is a manifestation of His divine splendor. The Supreme Lord concludes by saying that He remains ever pervading in and through the whole universe as Paramatman, His partial aspect, and that therefore all the worlds, spiritual and mundane, mutually and severally related to Him, cannot exist independent of Him. Nothing is independent of Krishna. He is controlling everything, He is supervising everything, and He is all good. We have to realize our mistake by His grace, by getting suffering, so that we'll realize we did wrong action. Then, by His grace, we can also understand what is right action, and then we have to do. Then we will attain what we need or want. But everything is under His supervision. As Paramatma, He is everywhere. And He is giving the fruits of actions. And those fruits are for our good, to get lesson. Shri Bhagavan Uvach Bhuya eva mahabaho Shrinu me paramam vachaha Yatteham priya manaya Vakshami hita kamyaya. You see how compassionate Krishna is. The Supreme Lord said, O mighty armed Arjuna, listen again to my supreme words, which I am now going to tell you for your good, as you are my beloved. And Gurudev said that when Krishna says at the end that Arjuna, because you are my friend, I'm telling you. But not only Arjuna, all jivas are friend of Krishna. Because in that verse in some Upanishad, it is stated that there are two birds on the same tree, Paramatma and Jivatma. One is observing and giving fruits, another is enjoying the fruits. And there it is stated that they are friends. So Gurudev told not only Arjuna is friend, all jivas they are friends. So Krishna is compassionate to all. Through Arjuna he is giving his compassion, his guidance, his advice to all of us, because we are his friend. He loves us all. And also Suhrit Sarva Bhutanam Dehinam also. He is a friend, Suhrit. So he wants for our own good. Even this suffering which we are getting, it is for our own good. He's giving. Because we wanted to enjoy, and now through this result we have to realize that that was wrong action. Name vidu suragana prabhavam na maharshayaha aham adir hidevanam maharshinam cha sarvashaha. I am the primeval cause of all the gods and the great sages of yore, and they know not the divine nature of my deeds, enacted during my descent in human form on the mundane plane. Explanation. The reason is that the gods or the sages vainly try to unravel the mystery of my origin, descents, and deeds on the strength of their own sense experience or empiric knowledge, with the result that in spite of their strenuous efforts of mundane reasonings, they fail to transcend the limits of time and space, and at last arrive at an imperfect, negative principle which they call impersonal abstract Brahman. It's just negation of this world, void of all attributes and actions. So if without surrendering to Krishna you try to know ultimate reality, you cannot. We have example of Brahma. He tried so much by his own effort to know, but he failed. in the beginning of creation. Then he submitted to Krishna, and by his grace he came to know what he has to do and everything. And in Vrindavan also, Brahma could not recognize Krishna, because Narayan he can understand, but he could not understand when Krishna descends as son of Nanda Maharaj. Same Narayan and Krishna are same person, but Krishna is original and more rasas are in him. So Brahma at that time played the pastime of not recognizing Krishna as his Lord. But when he got the grace and he submitted to Krishna, Krishna made that arrangement for him so that he was willing to submit to him. That is also merciful arrangement of Krishna. He is helping us to bring us to such a point that we will be inclined to surrender to him. So Brahma saw, I am bewildering everyone, but now I am bewildered. That is not possible unless it is Supreme Lord. So then he submitted, and then by the grace of Krishna he could realize that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, but doing this type of lila. Sweet pastimes. And then Brahma could understand. Then at the end he said, there are some who say, I know about Supreme Reality. They may say, if they want to say, I give them Dandavat from far. But I know, I cannot know you unless you grace me, unless you reveal to me. So they will come to this impersonal abstract Brahman by logic and by intelligence. Just opposite they will make from what we see in this world. So opposite to this must be ultimate reality, but it is not. Because here further Krishna says, but my ultimate transcendental reality is far beyond such dry wisdom, born of extra mundane conception. I am the absolute personality. I always manifest my eternal beautiful human form through the agency of my inconceivable internal Chit potency known as Yogamaya. I am the fountainhead of all immaculate essential qualities. I am the embodiment of all being, intelligence and bliss, Satchidananda. Paramatman or Ishwar means controller. Everything in this world is controlled by him. We are not seeing, but it is. This Paramatman or Ishwar is my partial immanent aspect manifested on the mundane plane as the indwelling guide of the universe, and Brahman is the imperfect, attributeless, negative aspect of my eternal beautiful form, not intelligible to limited human understanding, which is deluded by my apara or my prakriti. Brahman also is beyond Maya. It has to be revealed through scriptures. In Vedanta Sutra, there it is said, Atato Brahma Jigyasa, Janma Deasya Jata. Everything is coming from him. Then, third shloka says, Shastra Yonitvat. You cannot know him. He is self-revealed by Shastra. And you have to submit to Shastra. Do what Shastra says, then you can realize. But not through mundane reasonings and sense perception like this. Brahman also you cannot understand. Realize. it is not intelligible. You cannot realize by limited human understanding. Both these aspects, viz. Paramatman and Brahman, are my respective analytic and synthetic manifestations in the phenomenal world. They are related to this world. Occasionally, when I manifest my eternal beautiful form on the mundane plane through the agency of my Yogamaya, these intelligent citizens of heaven and sages of old, deluded by my Mayic potency, fail to conceive the glory of my eternal inconceivable power, wrongly think of my eternal beautiful descent in human form as mortal, and seek after self-absorption with the abstract, undifferentiated, impersonal Brahman as the ultimate end of human existence, because you cannot recognize Krishna unless you are surrendered to him. So those who will not surrender, they will think that impersonal Brahman is the highest. But my devotees are not empiricists. They know fully well that human reasoning, with all its minutest discriminations and introspection, is quite incompetent to comprehend the inconceivable absolute truth, or myself. They therefore take absolute shelter in me and engage themselves wholeheartedly in the cultivation of pure bhakti. Out of my infinite kindness, I offer them pure intelligence, which enables them to realize my transcendental, beautiful human form in their unalloyed existence. Sevan mukhe hi jivado swayameva spurata. When one engages in his service, under the guidance of pure devotee, then Krishna will manifest to that person. Without his grace, you cannot realize him. Yomam ajam anadim cha veti loka maheshwaram asamura samartyeshu sarva papaih pramuchate. He who knows me as the one unborn, beginningless, and the supreme Lord of this world, and realizes the transcendental and the primordial nature of my eternal, beautiful Shyamasundar form, and his superiority over the other two aspects of Paramatman and Brahman, is freed from all Mayic delusion and is purged of all kinds of sins by my causeless grace. Buddhirgyanam asamoha kshama satyam damah shamaha sukham dukham bhavo bhavo bhayam cha bhayam evacha ahimsa samata tushtis tapodanam yasho yashaha bhavanti bhava bhutanam mata eva pritagvidaha. Intelligence, discriminative knowledge, non-delusion, forbearance, truth, control of internal and external senses, will and woe, birth and death, fear and courage, harmlessness, composure, contentment, austerity, charity, fame, obloquy. All these diverse qualities of human beings originate from me. I have to see what is obloquy. Explanation. Even persons well versed in Shastric lore do not know me, despite their keen intellect, because introspective intelligence, which can discern the inner meaning, discriminating knowledge, which can distinguish between self and non-self, non-delusion, forbearance, truth, control of internal and external senses, will and woe, birth and death, fear, courage, harmlessness, composure, contentment, austerity, charity, fame, and obloquy. It means strong public condemnation. Synonyms: vilification, condemnation, abuse, criticism, censure, defamation, and also disgrace, especially that brought about by public condemnation. How it is pronounced? Obloquy. Obloquy. So one is fame, they will praise you, and one is obloquy. They will, in public or by the public, they will condemn, criticize. All these are human qualities and hence limited. Although I am the prime cause of all these qualities, I am quite distinct from them. Nothing remains to be unknown when the doctrine of inconceivable simultaneous distinction and non-distinction, the principle of Achintya Bheda Bheda, is known. When one knows this, nothing remains to be unknown. Just as the substratum or the omnipotent principle and his attributes are non-distinct and yet distinct from them, so also I, who am the Lord of all potencies and of the sentient and insentient phenomenal world emanated from those potencies, am simultaneously non-distinct and yet distinct from them. So, fame, obloquy, they all come from Krishna. And Krishna is one and the same, one and different at the same time. Substratum, like a substance, and the potency, or energetic and energy. They are non-different because they cannot exist separately, but at the same time they are also different. Maharshaya sapta purve chatvaro manavastataha tatha madbhavamanasa jata yesham loka imah prajaha. The seven sages, which viz Marichi, Atri, and others, you will find in Puranic Charitavali. The four brahmacharis, viz Sanak, Sanatan, and others, and the 14 Manus, born of Swayambhu, were all born of Hiranyagarbha Brahma, who came of me. This human race has been multiplied with their progeny and disciples. So, original father is Krishna, of all. Etam vibhutim yogam cha mamayo veti tattvata. Etam vibhutim yogam cha mamayo veti tattvata. So vikalpena yogena yujate natra sangshayaha. He who is truly acquainted with the knowledge of my real self, the climax of all philosophical truths, with the knowledge of my sovereign powers, and the principle of devotion, which is the climax of all philosophy of action, is undoubtedly harmonized by avikalpa yoga, that is to say, a yoga which is surely calculated to attain me. Avikalpa yoga. Yoga which is surely calculated to attain me. So by this, one can attain, one who knows Krishna in truth. Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yoveti tattvata. He knows me in truth. So avikalpena yogena yujate natra samshaya. I will read this Sai Maharaja's translation. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt. So now, from now on, these 4 Chatushloki start, but that we will hear either next Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't know. So I'm informing you that we are going with devotees tomorrow to Vienna, Radha Govinda Gauriya Math, because Srila Bhakti Prakak Siddhanti Maharaj is coming there, and also to meet other devotees of that temple we did not see long time. And there is also one Ratha Yatra is organized on 25th by ISKCON and this Gauriya Math together in Vienna Center. So we will go there till Tuesday. So maybe on Tuesday at 8 p.m. there will be further Skype, or Wednesday. I will inform you on chat. So then we will go through these 4 shlokas. They are very important, and there are also long commentaries here. So we need some time to carefully go through all this. Hari Bol.